Hi, I'm Kieran Gilmurray, author, board advisor, educator, chief AI officer, and digital transformation executive. I work with senior leaders, boards, global organizations, and beyond on AI strategy, leadership, and the practical adoption of disruptive digital technology. Today, I'm joined by Brian Syring, Director of Sales at TechD and IBM Gold Business Partner. Brian and the team have been helping companies and organizations optimize their IBM data analytics and data management systems, their hybrid cloud and security solutions, all the way back since 2019. Or is it 2019 or 29, Brian?
2009.
Oh my goodness, it's even longer than I thought. Fantastic. You really have been there from the start. Brian, for those who don't know you, then sorry, I'm about to jump in and just start chatting away because we'll have a bit of fun here. For those who don't know you, would you mind giving us a little bit of an introduction to you?
Yeah, sure. So Brian Syring with Technology Dynamics, we're often known as TechD. I've been with TechD about 5 years now. Prior to that was with IBM for about 4 to 5 years as well. All within the data analytics and big data hybrid cloud space as it continues to evolve. So been working with organizations and different customers and Big Blue for about 10 years now.
Wow. Do you know, it's always interesting for me to find the folks in the IBM ecosphere tend to stay, in and around it. They really love the company, really admire the talent that's in the company as well as solutions. So it's kind of exciting. I really do enjoy talking to folks who come from that environment. So just a quick loud, we better get on with the interview, otherwise the audience will absolutely shout at me. TechD has been an IBM Gold Business Partner since 2009, as you said. You've seen some of the big eras, therefore, of AI, the big data, hybrid cloud changing, and now generative AI. So I'm assuming being an IBM partner is involved. So what does it actually mean? What's a partner? How has it involved? And why did you choose to build your foundation so deeply in the IBM stack itself?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. So being a partner is really an extension of the IBM team. So we come in as both pre-sales, post-sales, and experts as it relates to the general technology stack. And one of the reasons we've really focused on IBM is because it's been around for as long as it has. I think just recently celebrated its 115th anniversary or birthday, if you will. It's continued to evolve within as big data, as data has evolved, as the overall ecosystem has evolved. And so by partnering with a company that's continued to evolve, it allows us to be front and center as everything's changing. And it's pretty exciting. It allows us to work with some of the most intelligent people in the industry, as well as those that are, really making change at organizations. And so that's why I think it just helps us really be a key provider for IBM and vice versa for them.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been around IBM myself for about 20 years, customer partner, whatever else. I love what you're saying there, the intellectual capability, the products, everything has really evolved. And I think people realize at times how much the company has invented and reinvented itself over the years. But you've integrated a lot of different IBM products, I'm assuming, across all of those practice areas, the analytics, the data management systems, the cloud and security solutions. Where are you seeing today? Where's the most growth happening or the most client demand happening within that portfolio?
Yeah, definitely over the last year or two, it's been exponentially more interested in the Watson X and the generative AI space. So clients just interested in what IBM has to offer, why are they offering, how are they going to market, how does that relate to their business? And a lot of it's been around that generative AI space.
Yeah. Why are people looking at this tech? Because you've got IBM's data, you've got their portfolio. Why is it easier or better for clients to implement it or scale it compared to some of the other solutions or some of the other partners that TechD could have actually, joined up with in the market?
Yeah, sure. I think there's a number of reasons. I think first and foremost is people trust IBM. I think that's what comes to mind a lot with the conversations is when you're talking about generative AI and it's not, it's still kind of a black box for a lot of folks. They trust IBM as it relates to security, to governance, and to doing the right thing. And so they're interested in how they're leveraging now this piece of tech to enhance their business. I think this is an interesting time because just about everybody has their hands on some type of generative AI. They use ChatGPT or Claude in their day-to-day, but implementing that at an organizational level or an enterprise level is significantly different. And so when they're looking to do that at the scale and the scope, they trust IBM to do that. Where I think it helps us and IBM is, their generative AI is really a platform, right? So you can pick and choose and use some of the best in breed, and you're not stuck into one piece of technology. And that's very powerful when you're looking to do real change at an organization.
Yeah, so just so people are aware, like adopting a platform like IBM Watson, it's as much a big cultural shift for any business as it is a technical shift. I think your company philosophy, principles deliver. What does that mean? How does a senior team, guide like yourselves, guide clients through that big change? And what are they seeing as part of their return on investment for the new technology, the new huge cultures that they're actually implementing around that?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's approaching it like client first. What are they trying to get out of this tech? It's not magic, although the technology is there and you can definitely utilize it. So we really try to align with the key business decision makers at an organization. What is the real ROI that they're trying to get out of it? Is it human time? Is it save money? So then we can align to those objectives and really look to implement the solution and the path to implement that solution in the most effective way possible. So I think that's where we come in is, having done a variety of these types of projects, you see where some of the pitfalls are, you see where, organizations get hung up or where they have a lot of success. And so it's then leveraging that history and that experience to kind of direct our new set of clients or prospects to say, hey guys, we may want to look at it from a different lens. Here's where we've had success. Here's why we've had it. Can we do the same thing within your organization to adopt these tools? Not only adopt them from a technology standpoint, but then from an employee standpoint, right? The change side of things is important too, and making sure that all this work you put in to make a product successful from a technology and implementation, that you as an employee or as a consumer actually use it. So that's where we really try and get to understand what they're trying to solve, why are they solving it, and then we back into the pieces of technology to get there.
Yeah. I love the way you're starting with that. I see a lot of companies performing what I call AI theater. They're doing stuff with AI, but you've went right from business outcome all the way back from the tech, because the foundations are the same, the people, the process, and the tech. If I push you a little bit, then Brian, have you got a real concrete example of where that technology, that partnership, has been absolutely key? Has there been someone, struggling a little bit maybe around, their security, their architecture, their AI, and you and IBM were really able to make that sing?
Yeah, we have a couple different examples, and some around the generative AI space, some are just data analytics in general, but one is with a fintech organization that was looking to really automate their data pipeline flows that then get presented out to their organization or to their customers. And this spanned 4 or 5 different IBM products, Red Hat, as well as different parts of the IBM portfolio. And so our team, along with the IBM folks, because of how the depth of different products that we're talking about and how they integrate with the organization, kind of came together to put an architecture in place that was leveraging one of IBM's flagship products like Cloud Pak for Data, running on Red Hat OpenShift across multiple AWS environments with a backup and security plan in place to get that up and running. And then we helped fully manage that environment. So we couldn't have done that alone. We needed some of that expertise that IBM has across the different parts of the portfolio to make sure that we were successful in that. So that's one. And then one that we see and that we recently came across is it was an organization really running on spreadsheets. They had their financial technology, they had their CRM, they had a variety of different pieces, their databases, but the core part is the UI was Excel spreadsheets. So we came in and helped them kind of re-swizzle that Excel spreadsheet into a different type of UI that allowed them still the same functionality, but with an underlying database that was secure, it was scalable, it was redundant, and then to give them more visibility and flexibility in terms of how is my business performing today, how does it look for the future, and to really drive some of those business outcomes. So that was leveraging IBM technology with our professional services to kind of take a look at current environment and put them into a future state.
Yeah, I really like that. The bit that I think people miss sometimes, because I see what I call Excel fungi everywhere. You get an Excel spreadsheet and the way it goes. But now that redundancy bit, I've got the security, I've got the auditability, I've got the traceability, I've got an actual backup. I maybe have different, rollback scenarios and everything else. And it's that decision quality, Brian, I think shifts through the roof once you actually put, a solid application in place. So I suppose is that a great example of an organization that was struggling? Because sometimes this isn't easy. Let's be honest, you're not walking in, here's a piece of tech, copy, paste, job done. And a lot of organizations are actually struggling to truly operationalize AI at any scale. What are you seeing? Why do you think that is the case? And then what's Tech D and yourselves doing, to simplify the adoption, reduce the complexity, and most importantly, where we were a moment ago, realize value more quickly than ever?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is it still comes down to the data. So everybody wants a nice, quick outcome. But if you don't have the data in place and it's not clean, it's not secure, it's not trustworthy, then you're going to struggle to get the outcomes that you're looking for and the trusted response from an AI standpoint. So when we're working with organizations, we try and call that out from the beginning and narrow in on the right type of data that's already in place within the company that we have access to, with the stakeholders that have the ability to really make change. And we focus in on that. And so can we do something with a piece of tech? Sure. But if it's garbage in, garbage out at the end of the day. So let's start from the beginning where everything is the foundation. Let's make sure we're all bought in on those pieces of data, that type of use case that we want to solve. And then we implement the technology from there. So I think that's where us from getting involved with this, AI can be complex. It could be challenging, but if we narrow in on where we know we've been successful, where we know we have the data and we have the buy-in, then that'll help the organization kind of start small and improve, and it'll help us prove that we know what we're doing and how we can go forward.
Yeah, there are no Harry Potter shortcuts to quality technology. Don't we wish if we just had that?
Unfortunately not. Yeah,
I know. I did try and go to the Harry Potter shop and buy good data and buy good security and buy cloud solutions. But unfortunately, it must have been an off day for the shopkeeper. It wasn't there. So looking at IBM's current roadmap, what's the piece of technology or what's the upcoming capability that you and your engineering teams are most excited about getting your hands on over the next 12 months, Brian?
So where we play is really on the data analytics side. I'd say as a broad scope, I think where they're going in quantum is going to be pretty exciting and something that, we should probably spend more time getting involved with. But where we sit today around just their generative AI capabilities, kind of as a broad sense, they have a product called Bob and watsonx Orchestrate. And what they're doing with that is actually implementing it across their broader set of technology. And I think that's going to continue to improve how organizations work with this type of tech and implement it. It's going to make it easier and more effective. We were having a conversation with a client the other day that sits in this part of the portfolio, and what kept coming up was the generative AI side and how IBM's now connecting all of these pieces of technology and making it more user friendly, making it easier, and really helping enhance the enterprise adoption of AI. So I think that's what's most exciting, right? It's making it easier, more effective across their entire set of probably hundreds of tools.
Yeah, I think that's the exciting bit, isn't it? Now you've got all the individual Legos that in themselves were great,
Yeah.
but now you can start to build the hospital, the fire engine, the police station, or whatever it else, using all of those and connecting them together. So we live in exciting times. And I have to say, I've been following the IBM quantum story for a couple of years. I was actually in London and Boston and seeing the quantum computer as well.
Oh, okay.
Bit of a fanboy looking at that. You're going, wow, I've seen that in so many pictures. And I was sort of a couple of years ago going, I wonder if that will come to commercial scale based on the timelines that IBM are suggesting. And it is. Now you can imagine putting Gen AI plus agentic AI plus quantum together, plus data, that's a kind of exciting journey and one that you'd want to buy into. Brian, we will run out of time, unfortunately. You and I would have a lot of fun talking about this tech, because you're hitting all the key areas that I get excited about: the data management, the security, the portfolio, the cloud. Those are the key building blocks for anybody to build, let's be honest, a proper functioning, secure, agile, operational business that actually works at scale and is flexible enough to bend and yield with the market. Because let's be honest, the market is changing quicker than I've ever seen it in my 20 or 30 years. And buying into 20-year fixed, whatever you want to call it, ERPs or whatever, those days are maybe behind us. If people want to know a little bit more about you, a little bit more about TechD, some of the options, some of the experiences you've had, learn some about the case studies, have a conversation, where should they go?
Yeah, I would start with our website, techd.com. We're easily accessible. Our senior management is easily accessible. We're happy to jump on calls just to further introduce, better understand what someone's trying to accomplish and if there's an area we can assist. So I think that's probably the best spot. You can go through your IBM partner or IBM contact if you already have one. Quick Google search and, easily accessible that way.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Brian, for sharing the story. Folks, thank you so much indeed for listening in. I don't think we've ever lived in a time period that is more fruitful, more exciting than we're currently living in today. I think if you see problems, you will always see problems. The only thing I see at the moment is opportunity. Brian and the team are creating opportunities for their clients. You too could potentially be one of those. So please do take a moment to reach out to Brian and the team. I'm sure, as he has said, he is accessible. You can find him in lots of ways. I'll include in the comments, I'll include in the links to Brian and the team and everything else. But I wish you every success, Brian. You and I will no doubt get talking soon. Everyone else, look, every success. The tooling and the technology is there. Now it's not the limit. The limit is your imagination and what you're willing to do with that tech. I wish you every success.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.